Welcome back to my farmhouse, my channel, and day 7 of the Sacred Kitchen Devotional. Today's verse is one of the most well-known, and let's be honest, one of the most intimidating. It's Proverbs 31:15 that says, "She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens." When I first read this chapter and this verse as a younger wife and mother, I used to picture this superhuman woman awake before dawn, joyful, perfectly put together, making fresh bread while singing hymns. But as I have reflected on Proverbs 31, I have realized that this verse isn't meant to make us feel like we're not enough. It's meant to remind us that our work has purpose and that God sees every small act of love we pour into our homes. You may not always rise before the sun. Some mornings you may wake with a crying baby. That is my future any day now. Maybe you wake up to a messy kitchen, or maybe an alarm that just feels far too early to be going off. But God still sees you. Every time you quietly get up to make breakfast, fold laundry, or prepare your home for your family, He sees. The Proverbs 31 woman isn't perfect. She's faithful. Her diligence, her consistency, her willingness to serve and love, that's what makes her virtuous. It's not about how early you wake up. It's about your heart posture, the willingness to show up again and again, even when you're tired. It is about the heart that you put into it and the intention behind what you do. When we serve our families, we are serving Christ Himself. And that changes everything. Folding laundry becomes an act of love. Stirring soup or bone broth becomes worship. Homemaking becomes holy ground. And maybe I sound very repetitive in these episodes, but it has been said that you have to hear something 7 times before you consider making the change or truly remembering it. So I want you to remember that homemaking becomes holy ground when you do those acts of service with love and selflessness. And I know some of you listening today are weary. You've been cooking, cleaning, homeschooling, working, managing. Maybe you've been doing it for years and years and you are running on empty. Maybe you have little children running around needing your constant attention. You are being pulled this way and that way. Or maybe you've just lost that spark you once had for your home. Your kitchen feels like a burden. The endless cycle of meals and messes leaves you drained. But I want to remind you, you are not alone. Even the Proverbs 31 woman didn't do it all in one day. Scripture says she laughs without fear of the future. That kind of peace comes from trusting God, not perfection. Ask Him to renew your strength. Take a moment to slow down. Light a candle, put on worship music, get on your knees and pray. Close your eyes, lift your hands, speak to God. Bake something simple that fills your home with warmth again. And remember that the same God who provided manna in the wilderness is still providing for you. You are not forgotten. Your faithfulness in the unseen moments matters more than you could ever know. There's something deeply powerful about returning to the why behind homemaking. In a world that often overlooks this calling, we can begin to forget that what we're doing is holy. Homemaking isn't just about keeping a house tidy or feeding a family. It's about creating a space where God's presence dwells. It's about nurturing hearts, building stability, and cultivating beauty in a world that desperately needs it. The Proverbs 31 woman rose early not because she was trying to impress anyone, but because she knew her work mattered to God. She was living intentionally, with her eyes fixed on eternity. Sometimes we have to slow down and reclaim the joy in the ordinary. When we shift from, I have to do this, to, I get to serve here, our entire atmosphere changes. So maybe today, before you start your tasks, pause and pray, Lord, fill my heart with joy in this calling again. Let my kitchen be a place where your peace and presence dwell. As you knead bread, sweep the floor, prepare food, whisper gratitude. You are not just maintaining a home, you are ministering through it. When your home becomes a reflection of Jesus' care, warm, nourishing, and welcoming, it becomes a light to everyone who enters. As I am here in my kitchen making homemade pie crust for homemade pumpkin pie, in yesterday's episode I made homemade pumpkin puree, so I'm going to be using that, as well as making chili and cinnamon rolls. I am reminded that homemaking happens one small, faithful act at a time. If you are feeling uninspired or stuck, here are just a few examples to help you rekindle joy and creativity in your kitchen. Try rotating theme nights to simplify decision making. So, for example, a soup and bread night, Taco Tuesday, Family Favorites Friday, breakfast for dinner day. Another idea is to start a kitchen gratitude journal where each day you write one thing that you are thankful for that God has provided. It's very fun and also filling and a good reminder to look back to reflect on all of the good things that God has provided you, especially if you stick with this and have years, days, just pages filled with things that God has provided for you. Another idea is to let your children join you in cooking and baking, even if it's messy, even if it's inconvenient, stressful, takes longer. You are training hearts, not just making meals. There's also something profoundly holy about inviting our children into the kitchen, into the noise, the spills, the stirring, and the sharing. Because it's not just about teaching them how to cook, it's about teaching them why we cook. When we let little hands stir the batter, knead the dough, or set the table, we're passing on more than skills. We're passing on love, patience, and gratitude. And as the theme of the devotional is, God's people often gathered around food, breaking bread, sharing stories, giving thanks. When you welcome your children into that space, you are inviting them into a legacy of faith and family. You're showing them that a kitchen can be a place of worship where flour dust becomes laughter and dishes become discipleship. It can be messy, yes. There will be flour and sugar on the floor, crooked cut vegetables, spoons being licked, little fingers dipping into batter, and sometimes some burnt edges. But those moments are sacred too, because you are showing your children what it means to serve joyfully, to work together, and to find beauty in imperfection. When we let our children help, we're not slowing down the process. We're sowing into their hearts. One day, they'll remember the smell of the bread you baked, the warmth of the oven, the taste of the cookies, the sound of the family around the table. And they'll carry that memory into their homes, knowing that the kitchen isn't just a place to prepare food. It's a place to create love. So the next time you're tempted to say, no, not right now, or it'll be faster if I do it myself, pause. Let them join you. Let them feel useful, capable, and connected. Because you're not just teaching them to cook, you're teaching them to love well. When Proverbs 31 says, she rises while it is yet night, it speaks not just of physical rising, but spiritual readiness. She awakes to what God is doing. Even when her world is dark or uncertain, she trusts his provision and moves forward in faith. That's what we're called to do, to rise in faith, to be alert to his voice, and to serve our homes from a place of trust. As we close this devotional, I want to bless every homemaker watching. May you know how deeply valuable your work is in the eyes of God. Every meal you make, every floor you sweep, every quiet prayer you whisper, it's a seed of love that will bloom in eternity. So always remember, you are the heart of your home, and your faithful hands are building something sacred.